Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's episode 8 in the Rye podcast with Curt Fletcher. My guest today is Big Benny, who is a radio DJ slash comedian from Albuquerque, and we're going to chat about comedy and radio. I just want to give a quick rundown. I did a show last Saturday at a recording studio, Red Gorilla Studios in Albuquerque, and they live streamed it onto Facebook, and it was a lot of fun. Of course, since the pandemic and shit, they didn't have many people at the venue. So, like, there were some camera people and a couple people that worked there. So there was laughter during the show, but not a lot of it because of, there was like maybe 10 people. But it was fun. It was a lot of good times. I think a lot of people tuned in online, so that was really cool. And I don't know when my next show is. I don't know if I have another one this month, but let's go talk to Benny. There you go. Is your audio on?
I think so.
Yeah, there you are. Hey, what's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Well, not much. Just doing this podcast.
I'm proud of you, bro.
Thanks, man. You're outside. Looks nice.
Yeah, it's hot, but I'm in my brother-in-law's. I'm in his backyard, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of the strange things of this whole COVID thing is that it makes for weird things going on for all kinds of people. And as bad as things are, I actually was able to purchase my first home, believe it or not.
Oh really? Congrats,
But because of that, I'm between homes right now. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, we don't close until this coming week, but we had to pay the rent off at the rental place through the end of the month. So I'm kicking at my brother-in-law's, man. It's Mexicans, dog. They throw us in here, and no matter what. They were like, "Andale, cabrón, just bring it in, fool. We'll take care of you, dog. There's room. We'll put the kids on the floor inside, man."
Oh yeah, man. Well, congrats. So, that's awesome.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, brother, man. Congrats on the podcast.
Oh, thanks, man. It's been pretty fun so far. This is the 8th episode. And can't complain. It's been pretty good.
Right on, man.
What else you been up to, man?
Healing, brother.
Yeah?
I'm healing. Yeah, I've been, for those that may not know, been doing the whole, I was doing comedy until about a little over a year ago. And I'm diabetic, diagnosed back in 2003 or whatever. And I was dealing with a foot situation where 2.5 years ago I almost lost my left leg. And while all that was going on, I, things happened with the pandemic and whatnot. And I recently became partially blind in my left eye. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So forgive me if I tend to kind of do this right here where I'm like, hey, where are you, dog?
Man, I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks.
You know what, man? You know what? I think of it as more of a kind of a cautionary tale,
Yeah.
A lot of people tend to think, they crack jokes about diabetes. Even me.
Oh, I've got some diabetes jokes.
Yeah, man. And everybody cracks jokes, the sugar, you're drinking the sodas and, all that, da. The truth is it's actually a pretty terrible disease, but.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And I didn't take it serious, I didn't take it serious to begin with. And then something like almost losing your leg will make you change your mind,
Oh, for sure, man.
And then now partially going blind, it's one of those situations where, anything I can do to just keep drinking enough fucking beer to keep myself forget. And I'm drunk, I don't fucking care, dog, that I'm blind. Go to my right so I can see you.
Are you still doing radio?
I am not doing radio, man.
Okay.
I have not done radio for I haven't had a full-time job in radio since September of 2017, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I did a short stint, like a couple of weeks at the local sports talk here in Albuquerque.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, 610, the Sports Animal.
Yeah. And
I did a couple of weeks there when my foot injury started, and then I had to quit work, man. I couldn't show up to work anymore,
Yeah, I hear you, man. I'm sorry.
No, dude. Again, it's the business, but you know what? You get jaded after a little while.
Yeah.
And
how long did you do radio?
I up until 2017, I've been doing radio since 1992.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Did you start in Albuquerque?
I did not. I started a small home-owned radio station in Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Home of the Caverns, bro. So, the local owner there, he was playing satellite-fed, shit music during the day.
Yeah.
And, at the time, we're talking Celine Dion and Michael Bolton.
Some good stuff.
Don't get me wrong. When I'm drunk, I can hear, When a Man Loves a Woman by Bolton, like the next guy. But during the day, so I would go in on Thursday nights from 8 to midnight, and I would play hip hop and R&B.
Okay.
And we're talking Dre. We're talking Dr. Dre and SWV and about 92, 93 when the hip hop, the 90s hip hop and R&B thing blew up. So we had a popular show, and my head grew big, and I was like, you know what? I bet if I just went up to Albuquerque, I could do it. And
you did it, man.
Sure enough, a few years later in 98, I got a job at the old school station here, the original old school station, Mega 95.5. We played Al Green and the Commodores and, some of that disco and stuff. And we had a good time, dude. And, when your name is Steve, which is my real name.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, that's the thing. When you get into radio, they give you radio names.
Oh, yeah. I wonder what my radio name would be.
You?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you'd be C. Fletch, dog. Yo, man, my man C. Fletch coming up next. Do you think you could roll with C. Fletch on the radio?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I can play some Bolton.
Yeah, man, this is the night. Yo, what's up? It's C. Fletch playing Celine Dion.
Yeah, what's up? What's up, ladies?
Call me up. I want to talk to you. But, yeah, man, so I got a job here, and the first radio program director I ran across was at that station, at Mega 95.5, the old school. Mm-hmm. And he told me, he says, hey, man, what's your name? And I go, my name's Steve. He says, no. Sorry, hold on. Did I mention the backyard of the house I'm in right now is literally up against Juan Tabo here in Albuquerque?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you hear any of that shit, sorry, I apologize.
That's all good.
And he looked at me, and he almost did the, when people do this shit right here, and they're like, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
No way. He almost did that. And he says, no. You're Big Benny Martinez, Albuquerque's original homeboy. And I looked at him and I said, okay, sir. I moved here 6 weeks ago. And I don't know if that's going to work, And he was like, nope, that's what it is. And it just kind of stuck. And I've been Big Benny ever since, and
does anyone call you Steve at all?
My wife, when she's pissed at me.
Yeah?
Yeah, actually she calls me other names, but yeah, my wife never embraced. The only time my wife would mention Benny to me is when she was pissed at me, and my ego would get a little, and the head would get a little, and she'd be like, oh, look, it's Benny. I'm sorry. Do I need to talk to Benny right? And I'd be like, shit. Okay, I'll take out the trash. Sorry. But, you grow into it, and it's kind of weird because now I answer to both. Okay. As a matter of fact, if I'm out in public and somebody says, hey, Steve, I'm like, who the fuck is that? I'm here with the only other person that really should know my real name here in the store, Mm-hmm. But, you run across some people from high school, and they don't know that that's your radio name. And, on Facebook, it's kind of weird because it's Benny Martinez on Facebook as well. So, it's been a really, really weird journey with the name thing. But overall, man, I've loved every second. Actually, as we're recording this, yesterday was National Radio Day.
Oh yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, so I saw a lot of folks, like I remember when I was working at this one station, and pictures. And the truth is, Curt, I was never much of the take pictures commemorating.
Yeah.
My radio career. I have some photos, but I don't have. There's some people I saw yesterday. They were posting like 25, 30 pictures over their radio career. And they've only been in radio for like 4 or 5 years. I'm like 20 some odd years into the game, and damn near 30 years in the game, and I only got, I don't know, maybe 10 photos, maybe 15 throughout my career, because I wasn't one of those people that did that. Mm-hmm. Like I met stars, but I wasn't doing, I wasn't trying to take pictures with every single one of them. Not that there's anything wrong with some radio people in Albuquerque that do that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, a lot of comics do that too when they work with like a famous comic or something like that. I usually don't unless someone else brings it up. They're like, "Hey, you want to get a picture?" I'm like, "Okay, cool." But yeah, if not, I won't even ask.
There are some that I had to take photos with. For those who don't know, I hosted a Thursday night laugh show at one of the local casinos for 6 years, and in 6 years, we had some really big names come through.
Mm-hmm.
We had Curt Fletcher come through and numerous times. But I also took photos. I did take photos with Louis Anderson.
Oh yeah,
the guy's a legend. How are you not going to take as a
for
comic?
Sure.
You have to take a picture with Louis Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
Sinbad when he came through. One of the original Kings of Comedy, D.L. Hughley when he came through. There's so many that come through, but not every one of them did I want to take pictures with. And this sounds really weird, and you can help me elaborate on this if you feel the same way. When I'm working with a comic, I learned not to get starstruck.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is I'm working with them. I'm not a fan. I didn't go back there for a photo op. I have a job to do just like they did. And I almost felt like, you know what? We're on the same bill. I should not be starstruck by every comic that comes through. And then I just learned to just treat them like other people and say, hey, man, welcome to Albuquerque and let's do the gig. And then afterwards it was like, you know what? Great meeting you. Then afterwards I was like, I wonder if I should have taken a photo with, so-and-so. And I was just like, I guess not. I guess it wasn't that big a deal for me to remember. I don't know about you. You ever done that?
Yeah, like you said, when you're working with someone, like it's different, like your coworkers basically. Like I worked with Jim Norton and I was like, man, I should ask for a picture, but I'm not going to. Luckily Sarah Kennedy did, so I did get the picture. So that was cool. But I did see, I saw Gilbert Gottfried last year in Tucson.
Okay.
And I wasn't working with him, and he was just in town when I was in town, and I had the night off, so I was like, shit, I'm going to go see Gilbert, he's a legend.
Yeah.
So, after the show, he was taking pictures with people, so I was like, yeah, I got to take advantage of this, when I'm going to see Gilbert Gottfried again, so.
Exactly. Like, so I couldn't help it.
I took a picture with him.
When I worked with the you said Gilbert Gottfried, and it tripped me out. Bobcat Goldthwait.
Oh, yeah.
Craziest guy from the movies. Everybody knows him in the movies. When I first met Bobcat Goldthwait, I walked into the green room at the casino, and you've been there. You know what it's like. Nice little setup with sofas and fluorescent lighting from the top. He had turned off the fluorescent lighting. He had a lamp in the corner that he had just turned on. He was sitting down and reading a book, like a quiet little he had his hat and glasses on, and I knew who it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, for some reason, I expected it to be a little more lively, but I almost walked in and, like, I was waiting to hear Enya or, some weird, it was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like some weird music was supposed to be playing or something, because he was just like, and he was like, he raised his head from his book. Hi, how are you? And I was just like, you're fucking Bobcat Goldthwait, bro. And that's what was inside me, but I couldn't do it, and I was just like, Bobcat, how are you, sir? And I said, and you just kind of, I always try to work with whoever's in the room. If they're lively, I'll step up a little bit. If they're quiet, I don't want to bug them,
Yeah.
Because I was just a host, and I didn't want to, for the most part, I knew I was working with the big names for 2 nights in a row or 3 nights in a row, and I didn't want to piss them off, man.
Mm-hmm. I
don't know. It's like almost like a respect thing, I just wanted to let them know I'm here to work. We're here to do some work, but I'm a fan. And there's a balance there that I think sometimes some hosts or other comics, like, I don't know, have you ever been put on a show and you're like so excited to find out who you're going to work with that you just tend to sometimes go, well, do I really act excited or do I wait to see how they're acting? Because you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like when I went with Jim Norton, like I was excited, like, once I got the booking up until the show and stuff, and then like I was like, man, I hope I don't act like a jackass when he's around, And then like he just kind of like snuck into the green room like while I was working on my set list, so I kind of didn't have time to like really freak out, He came up to me and started chatting like a normal dude, and I was like, okay, cool, I don't have to freak out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think
most of the people are like super cool. You know, most comics are. Even
most
at that
are.
level.
Some get intense. Some you know. There are some that they close the door to the green room, and when that door's closed, I don't attempt until literally. I mean, if it's literally showtime, I will knock on the give a little tut tut tut, and if they're like yeah, and even if I open the door and they're like yeah man come on, I'm like no problem man, the door's closed. I'm just here to let you know I'm about to start. I do 5 to 10, blah 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 blah, and then I'll bring you out, man. Just want to let you know we're ready to go. Then I close that door and get the hell out of the way because to me, a closed door for the star means don't go in there.
Yep.
I don't know why, but that was just always my mentality, Yeah, but it's different for everybody, dude. When I worked with, I was fortunate enough to work with Tim Meadows of SNL fame, the ladies' man, if you will. And Tim had this thing where he was sitting with the door open to the green room, but he'd have his notebook. A lot of comics have notebooks, and they're always writing notes down. But he would sit in front of the mirror with his back turned to anybody in the room. He had his headphones on, and he was writing. So that to me was like a closed door. He's writing. He's got the headphones in. Don't bug him. And if I needed to, and then they always give you this thing right here where they're like, yeah. And you're just like, sorry, bro. I know you had to take your headphones off to talk to me, but we're about to start the show, and I'm going to go ahead and leave the room, man. Have a great show. Sorry. And Tim Meadows was a real cool guy, but, that whole thing with the headphones was a little –
it's so weird because you don't know, like, which comic has a certain routine before they're set, Yeah. And as the host, it's really hard to – like, you have to do your job, obviously, so you have to, do it.
Yeah.
Kind of interrupt, but –
It's like that, and it's different. It's different when you feature. When I featured in the past, and I was lucky enough to feature a couple times. Once for Carlos Mencia and once for Paul Rodriguez. And the Paul Rodriguez feature was a trip because I was sort of feature and host. There was no host for the show, so I went out there and I did sort of the host, and then I did my 20. I did 20 for him. And all I can remember from Paul Rodriguez was that Paul was just like, hey, whatever you want to do, bro, you know my past, you know my record, you know what I've done. And if you don't, I'll write it down for you, but don't worry about it. Just, they know who I am. And we talked, and he said, just have fun, The only thing Paul Rodriguez told me when I worked with him at, I don't know what it's called anymore, if it's even open anymore, San Felipe's Casino Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, it's called, like, Black Mesa or something like that.
Is it Black Mesa now here now in Mexico? I featured for him there, and when I featured for Paul, I did my set, and then it was time for me to introduce him right away. I didn't get to walk off and then have a host come out. It was me. And the first show we did, I did ladies and gentlemen, you know who's coming up next? I went through the whole spiel, dude. I mean, the guy's a legendary Latino comic. He's been doing everything from DC Cab to movies, all these shows and da-da-da-da-da. The one and only, ladies and gentlemen, Paul Rodriguez. And the crowd goes fucking crazy. And, I mean, he comes out and, you do the handshake. You're like, fuck yeah, bro. Oh. He does his show. He does his full hour. And then between shows, like one of the first things he tells me when he gets backstage, I go, oh, man, hell of a show, Paul, man. Congrats, dude. Great job. And he goes, yeah, thank you, Benny. Thank you. Hey, do me a favor. Like immediately he tells me, do me a favor, bro. Next show, don't build me up like that, brother. And I go, oh, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I mean, I was just excited. He goes, no. He goes, I'm not mad. He goes, I'm not mad. He goes, but, and he told this to me, not a lot of comics would admit this. He goes, you know what? I'm older now. You know how he talks. You know how Paul Rodriguez talks to you. He's like, I'm older now, and I don't get as excitable on stage no more or nothing like that. So, when you build me up like that, and then I come out and I just do my bit, he goes, it's almost like a letdown. So if you can just, I don't mind you saying what you said, but maybe bring the energy down a little bit so that when I come out, I don't have to come out, balls to the wall to do that, And second show went great. He was a great guy. So that was a lot of fun. But when you feature, I feel a lot less stress than when I host. Because when I host, and you know this because I introduced you numerous times at Comedy Night there at the casino, obviously your name, what credits do you want to make sure that I'm mentioning?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, your podcast, the In the Rye podcast, is kind of easy. There were some people that are like, yo, man, write down that I was on this. And you know what's really weird? And this is, man, I don't know, I'm not giving away a secret here. And please, if any comics are watching this, don't get pissed. But there were some featured comics, not the headliner, but some features that would come on. Word for word, make sure you say this, and make sure you put the stress on this word. And it's not this, it's this. And make sure you say it like that. And I mean, real diva, shitty comics.
No, always.
They were shitty comics, but man.
They're usually shitty people too.
Yes, and they were just like, don't forget my intro. And I have this shirt right here. Can you make sure that you take that shirt out? And I don't want it on the bench. But if you could put it on the left side of the bench on the floor, not the right, because I do a bit. And I'm like, bro, you're the feature. You're not even the headliner, bro. And so I actually dealt more with egomaniacal features than I ever did with headliners, bro.
Yeah.
It was really weird. I even had some local comics that would do local shows, and I won't name names. I could. Actually, their name was – I'm kidding. But
I'll add something in there.
And they would come up and they'd be like – they did it one time, two times, and they're like, yeah, man, you know what, man? Unless I get to feature, I'm not coming to do the opening thing no more, man. I'm not even going to come no more. And I was like, well, then you're probably never going to come no more because they're never going to give you a feature spot. Now, not everybody is as good as you because I know you've done features at that club, but you did features at the casino before. But some of the openers, the locals would get sort of, well, I'm better than this, man. I can't believe they haven't asked me to feature, man. I'm never coming back unless I feature.
I used to always like the opening spot because they would book me 3 to 4 times a year to do it. When you're a feature, you're only doing it once a year.
Yeah.
And it's a local gig. Like it's less than a 30-minute drive.
And it's easy. You drive to Bernalillo, which is where the casino was,
Exactly, yeah. That's what I don't understand about some of these comics, They're like, oh, I need to feature. No, you don't. Shut up.
Yeah. I caught some flack, and I have caught some flack locally from some people. Again, I won't name names. But I was very fortunate enough that due to my hosting gig at the casino for all these years, I did 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was top 5 Albuquerque, the magazine, stand-up comic for 2018. And then for 2019, I was fortunate enough to win the category.
Mm-hmm.
And never, and this is kind of my rule on these local magazine, newspaper, best of deals, I don't ever campaign.
Yeah.
I don't believe in it. I think if you have to tell people to vote for you, then you're kind of cheating the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
A person should look and see best whatever, and your name should pop in their head to write it down. And if it doesn't, then so be it. They'll pick somebody else.
Like 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I won best local Twitter to follow in Rio Rancho. I didn't even know they were voting for that. And someone just emailed me and said that I won, and I was like, cool.
Yeah, and you're going, all right, cool. What was that again? What did I win again?
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. I got a little plaque for it though, so that's pretty cool.
Did you? Yeah, man. But I also saw that, like, when I won in 2019, that I heard that some local comics, I don't know, didn't believe it, or didn't want to believe it, or didn't think I was that good, or whatever reason they had. And so I saw some local stuff where, some local comics created their own prizes.
Yeah.
Some made their own trophies. Some made their own. I saw somebody that made certificates as well. And I'm like this. You know what? If you want to claim it, claim it. I'm all good. I don't know. I'm not like most people. I don't compete when it comes to doing comedy. And this is my number one rule.
Well, it's not a competition.
It's not a competition. Thank you. It's not a competition. Comedy is one of the most, and I forgot the fucking term. It was right, it just popped out. It's so person by person basis. You know what I'm saying? It's all relative. It's all, I know there's a word here. Subjective. I love your style of comedy. You know,
Yeah.
you are sort of you're not technically a one-liner comic, in my opinion, but you have a point and you tell the joke, and that's the joke. You got a punchline, and then you might do something similar in the next joke, but you might move on to something else for another joke, my opinion. And it's a style that I've always liked. I'm not that kind of comic. I'm a storyteller. I'm a complainer. I'm a observationist, and I point out shit that I see. You know, and it's actually what caused me to lose the gig at the casino. I hadn't really heard of cancel culture until I found out that I was a part of it. I do a bit, and this is on a podcast. I guess it doesn't fucking matter. It's already over anyway. You know, I do a bit about being from Albuquerque and how white people from Albuquerque are not typical white people. And I do a bit about how I'm proud. I would be proud to send any white person from Albuquerque to Kentucky, where if they're like, hey, what do you say there, Kevin? That Kevin will turn around and he'll be like, you know, they're like, where are you from, partner? He says, I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And redneck in Kentucky might say something like, you know, you fucking Mexican goddamn piece of shit. Because I know that white person from Albuquerque in Kentucky will go, what the fuck did you call me? Puto, I'll fucking cut you, dog. I'm from Burke just like everybody else, dog. And the point being that white people can be a little ghetto from here, too. And they got New Mexico pride just as much as any minority here.
Oh, for sure.
And it was almost done from a love standpoint for white people from here. Yeah. But in the age of Trump and what's going on nowadays, I had some white folks that complained to the casino about the bit, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they never officially told me that when it was time to let me go. But that I had heard through the grapevine that that's what it was. And, you know, and it's a casino. Let's be completely honest. When a casino gets a complaint from a customer about an employee, they're not going to back up the employee to the customer.
Yeah.
The customer comes in and spends in, you know, if they're a regular, thousands per year. And it's not worth keeping me on board for that. So they cut me. And they went to a format where they got like a bunch of different hosts. And again, a local comic decided that, you know, they wanted to take shots because he was a regular host again. And I was like, I think they're rotating hosts, bro. You're not the regular host. And they're not doing that no more. So we had some words. It would be dangerous for me to mention this comic's name from Albuquerque, but, you know, sometimes the locals get a big head when I don't know. That's another thing is I appreciated the gig, but I never threw it in anyone's face that I host out of the casino. I'm out there every week. I'm better than everybody because I get to do that. I never did that, you know? So when I heard that Homeboy was doing that, again, just very dangerous of him to do that. I was like, bro, I was there for 6 years and I didn't have to do that. You don't have to be that way. It's just go out there and do your job, you know, and don't. And he took shots about me getting fired and the whole story about my last show that happened at the casino because he thought I got fired right away.
Oh yeah,
and I didn't. Truth is, in 2017, I was 2019. I was told in the middle of June that I would be done at the end of July.
Yeah, I remember because I did the show. I think it was July 5th.
You did your last shows. The 4th of July show.
Yeah.
You and I worked on 4th of July 2019. We actually did a show on the 4th of July.
Was it on the 4th?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I know because I had to leave my beer and barbecue to go do the show.
Oh, yeah.
I only had one beer. Law enforcement. I only had one beer. And so it was time to finish up. And they let me stay for the final 6 weeks. And I was supposed to work with Dave Attell on June 20th
or something?
June or July 20-something. And they pulled those shows from me as well. They pulled me off those shows. They said it was budget or whatever, and I was just like, whatever. So I grew a little disenfranchised. Motorcycle. And
white guy from Albuquerque.
hat backwards. And, so I found out what was going on and why. Then I found out what they were going to do, and I was like, yeah, okay. And it came down from casino management, and so I literally, I figured this is my last show. And I went out, and I told the crowd, I said, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I said, 6 years I've been hosting this show. You guys have been amazing. You come out every week and show your support for stand-up comedy, not just for me, but for every comic that's ever stepped on this stage for the last 6 years. You guys come out to have a good time, and I'm proud to have been here. To the sound guy, Shane, and the crew that works the sound, the bartenders, management of the club, security, all have been amazing. And I said, but I found out that I'm being let go because of cancel culture, and there was a bit that I did about white people from New Mexico. And then I paused for a second, and I said, but you know what? This is my last show. And I grabbed the money that I had been paid in cash already for my last show, and I literally pulled it out of my pocket, and I said, but you know what? I've already been paid for tonight's show. So let's do that fucking bit right now. And the fucking crowd loved it, dude. They were like, fuck yeah, let's do it. What's the joke? And I was talking about the whole bit from Albuquerque and white people and all that. And I did, normally when I host a show, I do about 10 minutes and then let's get going. Mm-hmm. That night, I did almost a half hour. Last show. Mm-hmm. And I literally said on stage, what are they going to do? Fire me? And I brought out the feature. I went backstage. I sat down. Within 1 minute, security came to the dressing room and said, Benny, hey. And I go, hey, guys, we're going to have to ask you to leave. Apparently, casino management, who I had made fun of, because it was the whole boss bit, it's always these fucking people from the top floor that want to make shit happen down here, blah, blah, blah. So somebody was watching me on, because in a casino, somebody's always watching.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, hey, man, somebody called us and told us we need to escort you out. I didn't even get a chance to bring up the headliner or finish the show. They chopped my head off after I brought out the feature. I walk outside. We're in the casino. I shake hands with the security guys. And they said, between you and me, bro, that shit was fucking hilarious what you were doing, dude. I thought it was funny. And I go, well, dude, I didn't mean it like in a mean, mad way. It was comedy, and I was going off the cuff, I took some shots at casino management. And I said, so is this it for me from the club, or is this the casino completely? And I am now proud to announce that for the last 2 years, I have been 86 completely from the casino. I have never gone back. I've never attempted to go back.
They wouldn't even let you gamble there?
What's that?
They wouldn't even let you gamble there?
No. They said you are not allowed back on the property.
Wow.
And I said, wow, for jokes. Okay. So not only was I canceled by cancel culture of some people that didn't like the bit, I was canceled by the casino completely because I was honest about what had happened to me. Mm-hmm. But, and this, in comedy, sometimes you have to just – my wife was so fucking mad at me.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, why did you do that? Because of this. And I had to tell her, look, I'm a stand-up comic and it pissed me off. Mm-hmm. And you do what you do. And if the consequences are that, and she's like, yeah, but nobody else is ever going to want to work with you. And the truth is, I have been spoken to by at least 3 other casinos about doing a stand-up comedy show at their venue. Mm-hmm. But between my foot and my eye, I have not set foot on a stage since that night. Since that night, I got let go.
Oh, wow. That's been over a year, right?
That's the last time I've performed comedy on stage. It's been over a year.
Yeah.
So, because I had the foot thing, then the blindness, which I can still technically, see a little bit, but it's blurry. Mm-hmm. So I'm partially blind in one eye. But I could still do comedy. It's just after this happened, the pandemic's been going on, and I know you did Zoom shows, but I haven't done a Zoom show or anything like that. I have no idea what it's like. What do you think of doing Zoom shows?
I've only done one so far, and
okay.
I was kind of hesitant to do it, but I did it, and it was really fun. I had a blast. It was really cool how they set it up. So it was me and like 8 other comics. They're all from like
Okay.
LA, and so the crowd, they paid $15 a ticket or something like that. So you can
Wow.
see how many people are in the crowd on the screen here,
Yeah.
and then you can hear them laughing also, which so it threw
Oh,
me
okay.
off. So once it got to me, my microphone was on, like I was like the main speaker or whatever. I don't know how they do that, but
Headliner.
like everything went, no, not a headliner, but like when I was talking, like I was like the main person
Oh,
that
yeah.
showcased, I guess, on the screen. But then like everything went silent, so it was like it kind of threw me off. So I started telling my first joke, and then I heard people started laughing, and I was like, oh shit, this is pretty cool. And then so yeah, I did like 7 minutes, and like I couldn't tell who was laughing unless I was looking at their face. Like, you can see their
Right.
face on the screen. Some of them choose not to show their face on the
Okay.
screen. So there are people who you couldn't hear laughing or anything like that, but they would like.
That
There's
almost
also a
that's
chat where people are like, they could tell you if they like you and stuff like that. But there are a decent amount of people who are on the screen. You can see them smiling and laughing and stuff, and it
they're
was
doing
kind
their
of
thing.
cool. Yeah,
That's pretty cool. Now,
yeah.
the people that blacked out their screen and maybe turned and muted their microphones would probably be the equivalent of a live show where that guy's in the front row just like this the whole show. And you tell a joke and he
I
goes,
hate that guy.
and he goes,
Oh yeah, and
probably that
he's always
person,
the easiest person to spot out to as a comic.
You know what really sucks about people like that is that after the show, when you meet people, for those of you who don't know, after shows, obviously, most of the comics will meet you at the exit. Thank you for coming out. They're trying to sell you merchandise or whatever. A lot of times that fucker in the front row who sat the whole fucking show will come up to you. He's like, dude, you had me fucking rolling, dog. You were the best one out there, bro. I couldn't help it, bro. And you're going, where the fuck were you during the show, bro? You just, why do you sit like?
That's always so annoying.
It's one of those things, man.
Especially if they're right in the front too.
It's the etiquette, man. A lot of people don't tend to get it. Sometimes there is an etiquette to comedy shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had, when I hosted, I would do a bit where I would literally go, okay, it's time for to start the show. Before we get started, I want to let you know. And I always went through the same spiel,
mm-hmm.
And it was always like, do we have any national touring comedians in our audience tonight?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously they wouldn't make a noise. And I would say, exactly. Look, I know you think you're funny at work. You're hilarious. This is not the place to do it. These are performing, touring professionals. You're funny at work. Don't fucking interrupt the comics. You're not funnier than they are. Even if you are, stay quiet and let them finish before you fucking complain about them after the show. And I would even get some of the comics to be like, damn, dude, you were kind of policeman out there. And I'm like, look, I just don't want no hassles, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want no hassles because getting heckled or people that won't shut up.
Yeah.
That to me, how do you deal with hecklers, Curt? What's your
it depends on the heckler usually. Because a lot of times they'll heckle during the comic who's on before me, so I can kind of figure out how to handle them when I go on stage. A lot of times I'll just go up and I'll just try to plow through my material and not give them a spot to heckle. Like just go through the material as quick as it can. But if they're being a dick, usually I can shut them up, because usually the crowd wants them to shut up anyway.
Yeah.
So whatever you say, the crowd's going to be on your side no matter what.
Yeah, that's true. My deal is if somebody usually does an outburst, because usually it starts with an outburst.
Oh yeah.
I think if you can learn to ignore the initial outburst,
mm-hmm.
you've kind of let them know right off the bat, look, it's not going to work tonight, but it's not, you're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Now I did have one time where a guy said something that was actually funny,
Mm-hmm.
and I took it and just ran in like I started spitballing, and free forming
Oh yeah.
and going off of that, and started doing like a bit off the top of my head. Because if one thing I learned in radio is that you have to be quick.
Yeah.
And sometimes he fed me something that I could just work with, and I started blah, 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 and I avoided any other. I ignored him. He had like one other outburst where he was like trying to, feed me another something, and I just kind of, and I kept doing my bit. A lot of times, I don't think a lot of them realize that they're interrupting the way they are, because
they have no
get the
clue.
booze.
A lot of them are drunk and they don't realize.
Yeah.
And a lot of them will come up after the show and say something, and then once you explain to them that they were ruining the show, they're like, "Oh, I didn't know.
I didn't realize. I was just having fun."
Yeah.
But because you're funny, bro.
Thought I was helping you. I was like, no, I wrote these jokes without you.
You weren't in the room when I was
Just
fucking writing
fine.
this shit. You my roommate, dog? Get out of my face, bro.
Hey, you planning on getting back into radio or no? Are you done?
I'd love to.
You would?
But I can sort of I posted on the day we're recording this, I posted on my Facebook page that somebody has finally asked me to be a part of their podcast or show or anything like that. So I will do it with you because you are the first podcast that asked me to do it.
Heck yeah.
Due to my foot and my eyesight, your boy is officially retiring from full-time radio work.
Mm-hmm.
I will no longer be attempting to get a job as a program director or as a full-time radio DJ.
Well,
I did it for a long
now that
time.
you have Zoom, you can start your own. You can start your own podcast and everything, man. I bet
Well,
you get
believe it or
tons of
not,
listeners.
when I got hurt and I first got let go from radio and everything, I do have a podcast. Here we go. It's called Big Benny Unfiltered. It's available on Apple and available on Spotify and all the other places you get it. The only issue is I did it right as I got hurt. So I only have 2 episodes.
Oh,
And
really?
they were both ended by April of 19. So technically on Facebook and on Twitter, there is a Big Benny Unfiltered page. On Twitter, it's at BB Unfiltered Pod. And on Facebook, it is Big Benny Unfiltered, the podcast. The News and Brews podcast. I actually drink beers while I do these things.
Nice.
And it's sort of a radio style format. I do 3 news stories. Usually it's involving sports or whatever the hell's going on. And then I do what I used to do on the radio, which is called Other News. And that is, guy kills best friend while drinking and doing William Tell and, missed the apple and shot his friend in the head in Kentucky type stories,
Oh, yeah.
Woman breastfeeds her dog still. And I'm like, still, okay. So I find the weird stories, and I like to have fun with some of that stuff. But I only did 2 episodes. I've been told by my family that now that I have the eye thing and the leg is kind of, I walk around with a permanent limp now.
Yeah.
But I have not given up on comedy.
Good.
I just have to be careful on how much I work because the truth is I have been officially claimed as disabled by the Social Security Administration.
Okay.
And if Donald Trump doesn't fuck around and try to take my goddamn money that I just started getting, I'm able to kind of get by. And so I don't kind of really need to get a full-time job. So I'm officially retired from radio at the age of 48. First announcement here on the In the Right podcast with Curt Fletcher.
Right. Hey, man, I've only got a couple minutes left. I usually only do like 45 minutes on here.
Yeah, man, whatever you need, bro.
I did want to ask you what your opinion is on the Redskins name. I know you're a huge Washington Red football team fan.
I am a huge fan. I was disheartened when they first announced it, but I've always understood about why people were upset, why Native Americans, if they were upset. But as long as the name didn't change, that's what they were always that team name to me. I've been a fan since 1980, and so as long as they kept the name, I just kept calling them that. And then they said they weren't going to do it anymore, and I said, well, that's sad. I bought a bunch of before they stopped selling them online. I bought 3 T-shirts with logos and the old name and the old logo and all that stuff. They've got a couple of names that they're cooking on right now. I only like 2.
Which ones do you like?
I'm a fan of the Washington Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fans don't like that because, well, it's just the NBA team from Golden State. And so that's fucking weak. I'm like, look, they were Redskins before Warriors. They could still keep the in the 60s, they used to have the Florida State Spear logo on their helmets.
Uh-huh.
So they kind of keep that Native American thing going on. And I was all for it. But a lot of people said that since the Native American community at large didn't want it happening, or they were upset, that it might work out. I don't think Warriors is going to work. And so that brings me to the one that I have embraced, which is the Washington Red Wolves.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently the Red Wolf is a native to the Carolinas and Virginia area of America.
Okay.
It's an actual animal. It's not just something made up. And to be honest, being from Albuquerque and having the University of New Mexico right here, I'm all for anything that involves howling and the paw print and, that vibe of a vicious animal. And, so if they go with Red Wolves or Warriors, I'm cool either way.
Yeah.
Washington football team this year can eat a dick as a name. My wife even told me, you should buy some gear because it's only going to be 1 year. And I'm like, I don't ever want to fucking remember the 1 year that they were just the fucking Washington football team.
Yeah.
I can't even,
so
I can hardly say it, but I do dig the helmets. For those of you who don't know, the Washington football team now sports a solid burgundy helmet with gold numbers like Alabama. And a lot of people are like, well, that's so high school, college, bro. And I'm like, what else are we going to, you can't put a real logo on it,
Yeah.
So you might as well keep it with the numbers. Plus, fucking half of our fucking defense went to the University of Alabama, so they're used to having the numbers on the side of the helmet anyway. So I'm good with that. Real quick on the shout. Real quick, if I can get in a shout out before we end the podcast.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Anything you need to plug?
Well, no, actually, this one right here involves the team. I just found out that Washington football team head coach Ron Rivera was diagnosed with a form of cancer in his neck, and we're praying for you, Coach. And as much as I want to win games this year, I want you to be around for rest in the future. So, by all means, man, get in there, get that treatment, man. We're all praying for you and your family as you move forward and doing that. And hail to the football team is basically all what I got to say. So if I do feel like doing more podcast stuff, one more time, Big Benny Unfiltered, the News and Brews podcast. Look for it on Facebook and online at Twitter. It's at BB Unfiltered Pod. That's the handle on Twitter.
And your handle on Twitter is at Big Benny Radio, right?
At Big Benny Radio is my personal Twitter handle. You will see political shit there that you don't see on my Facebook page because Facebook is full of bitches that don't know how to fucking take a joke or everybody gets bent out of shape on Facebook. It's kind of weird. I say Facebook is like the front of the house when the family gets together where grandma is there with all the kids and the daughters and the kids and the grandkids. Twitter is the back of the house during those family togethers where grandpa and all the uncles are getting fucked up and talking nasty shit and being like, you see that lady that works at the restaurant, dog? Fat ass, bro. No, y'all, I seen her. That kind of shit goes on. That's Twitter, where it's just fucking throw down and fuck you.
Twitter's nuts, dude.
You. I love Twitter, dude. A lot of people are like, it's so toxic. So fuck you. Twitter's fucking awesome, dude. I love it. I don't mind Facebook. And Instagram, I don't do much on Instagram except some stuff because it's kind of in the middle. And I don't take enough pictures of my lunch to fucking be on Twitter, on Instagram.
On Instagram.
So. But, yeah, man. So find me on all that stuff. And if I do another podcast episode, man, I'll be sure to, look for it on those pages. And I'll let you know when I decide to get going again. I'm almost there. Like I said, maybe you're the launch point for me to go, you know what? I should get back on this fucking do it, man, And as soon as comedy comes up, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's the In the Right podcast, and I know it's Curt Fletcher. It's his podcast, and he won't do it. This motherfucker is one of the funniest people on the planet. Not just Albuquerque, not just New Mexico, not just the Southwest, not just the regional West, in the country. If you get a chance to see this man, whether it's locally or whether you see him in another part of the country, TV, he's working for it. He's busting his ass. He's one of the best dudes I know, not just in comedy, but in general. Make sure you check him out no matter where he performs. He's one of a handful of comics that I can honestly say is good people that knows what the fuck they're doing, are professional and good at what they do. Check out Curt Fletcher in the Ride podcast, Curt Fletcher on stage, Curt Fletcher on tour. And I'm not just saying that because I want him to fucking ask me to go feature for him next time he hits the road. I'm just saying. I'll look to the right.
That, man.
I'll look to the right when we drive, brother, because I'm blind in my left eye. So you look to the left and I'll look to the right. We'll get there together, brother, man. And I appreciate you having me on the podcast, brother.
Oh, yeah. Dude, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate the kind words.
You got it, brother, man. I mean it.
Thanks for coming on, too, and talking to me.
Hey, you got it. Anytime, Curt. You need me ever again, brother. I'm here for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we could talk for hours, man.
You got it, man. Have a good time. Have a good night, man. I appreciate it. Orale.
You too. Yeah, take care, man.